Is he the next heavyweight champ? Moses Itauma has recently bursted onto the heavyweight scene, having just secured a brutal and dominant victory. And with him being only 20 years old, the hype for Moses has been absolutely skyrocketing, with many wondering how much potential he really has. So is Moses Itauma really that good?
But before we get into that, we're Punch Talk and are back bringing you daily combat sports videos. So if you enjoy the content, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to help support the channel. So Moses Itauma is very young into his pro career and already has a decent amount of fights, fought 7 times in 2023, and so far has been continuing that momentum. They were trying to build him as potentially to be that guy who could break Mike Tyson's record as the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, trying to fast track him to potentially get a title shot somehow, but it doesn't seem like that's the case as he's now over 20 years old, a couple months in, and that window has passed him by. Not like it was too likely in the first place, considering Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois are the world champions right now, but that doesn't mean that Moses isn't the future of this division. He's only 20 years old. He's a big guy, usually weighing at around 250 pounds, but we've seen the skills he has in the ring just purely based off of the eye test. He's been putting opponent after opponent away in devastating fashion most of the time, not really having been tested quite yet, but he has explosive hands, a tricky southpaw, a strong right hook that he just put Mike Balogan out with, even catching most guys with those overhand lefts, and his clean, just crisp, pure boxing. With him being so young in the heavyweight division, where most guys at heavyweight usually peak towards their mid-30s, if anything, we really just don't know the ceiling of Moses Itauma, and that's what really makes him that much more frightening.
Yeah, with Moses being so young, just 20 years of age here, and with him showing so much early potential, with the power, with the footwork, the speed of lighter division guys, it's hard even this early on not to say that he looks like the new breed of heavyweight boxers and that new level that people are gonna aspire to, which isn't to be this slow, methodical boxer, which is just looking at heavyweight to get these big power shots off and hoping you knock out your opponent. We're seeing from him it's real good skill, technique. This is not to compare him because it's way too early on, but sort of what you see from an Usyk, where he's moving around light on his feet, not looking to get caught in different spaces, always looking to find the best angles, opportunities. And although the competition level hasn't been too high yet for Moses, of course he's still building up, getting up the ranks. Frank Warren's trying to build him up properly, but we've seen already that he's able to counter very well. Just in this last fight when Balogun entered in, overextended, overcommitted, we saw Moses catch him perfectly, and that was the 3rd knockdown which finally put him out. So it's really good signs. Of course he hasn't really gotten too much later round experience yet, which is going to be key from him. He's just been putting guys out of there for the most part very early on and hasn't been tested too much yet, but that will come with time. That will come when he fights harder opponents, better opponents too. But right now he's doing everything that he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be getting these guys out of there quickly, and for a guy so young at 20 years old, it just shows so much promise. This guy's gonna be in the sport most likely for so long and so many years to come. So if he's able to put on these great performances right now, it's all you can ask for from him. But for sure we're gonna have to see when the competition gets higher, because there's been the likes of even Jared Anderson when he fought the tougher competition at the time, Martin Bakole. He got destroyed and just outdone completely. He was very young. I think he was around 23, 24 years old when he fought him, and he was looked at to be the next great American heavyweight. So once again, only time will tell with Moses Itauma, especially when he gets higher up in competition, higher up in level, but as of right now the future looks very promising.
Yeah, he's clearly a beast, and he's only went the distance twice in his career in his 3rd and 4th fights, and it's not like they were any competitive. They were just whitewash, easy decisions for him on 6-rounders, not too much to take away from them. But he's been active, he's been consistent, only fought 1 time this year so far on this card, but he's probably going to look to be pretty active, and he's going to be a problem for the heavyweight division. On Riyadh season, he had a great performance on a big stage as the co-main event of Fury versus Usyk 2 against Dempsey McKean, stopping him brutally in that 1st round, and he just looks like an unstoppable force right now. Again, it's not the highest of levels. We don't really know his ceiling right now. And in the landscape of a heavyweight era that is kind of full of giants, behemoths, 6'7" guys, 6'9" guys, and then generational talents like Alexander Usyk, it's going to be hard for Moses to compete, but at the same time, that's not even really his era. Those guys are all in their mid to late 30s. They're going to be gone in 5 to 10 years, while Moses is only going to be in his early 30s or late 20s. So he has so much time to work with with, and that's why I'm emphasizing how young he is, because that really means a lot at this level. I mean, there are guys that are relatively young in the heavyweight division that are very successful, like Daniel Dubois is only 27 years old. He's a world champion right now and attempting to unify those titles against Alexander Usyk this summer. So we're seeing some up and coming rising guys in the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division is looking pretty solid right now, and if he can't beat Mike Tyson's record, he could still aim to be the second youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history, that being right now Floyd Patterson, who won his title at 21 years old in 10 months. So if Moses can get a world championship by October 2026, then maybe that's possible. In terms of what's next for Moses, I would like to see a step up in competition, but maybe not too deep. Who really knows? There's been talks of potentially a Martin Bakole fight for Moses, which may be a tad too early, but Bakole hasn't necessarily looked invincible by any means. And if there's one thing about Bakole, he gets hit a lot, and we know Moses Itauma can bang. So it either could be a nightmare matchup for Bakole, or Bakole could be able to just take those bangs and really drown Moses into those deeper waters, because Bakole seems to be one of those guys who is a real threat to those up and coming guys like the Jared Andersons.
Yeah, it's really hard to say this early on what's in store for Moses. There's also a lot of intangibles there. We don't know how he looks when the rounds go later and he's facing adversity. Will his cardio for sure be able to hold up in those later rounds, some of those championship rounds as well? Is he able to take some good licks and still be fighting, don't get discouraged? There's just overall so many unknowns, but to that point as well, that's also kind of a good thing, because early on you don't want to be taking that damage, especially when he's this young at 20. You want to be able to preserve your career until your prime, until you get older too, so you're not just fully found out this early on at this level like we've seen to some other guys happen before. So there's definitely some very intriguing matchups, ones that won't push him fully too high yet. Like you were saying, that Bakole one would be interesting. Bakole hasn't been looking too good, so maybe they make that happen in the future. I don't think that'd be his next fight per se, because that just seems like very early on still, but he's been doing very well. 12 wins, 10 KOs. He's shown great attributes, being able to counter, being light on his feet. He already has a lot of different attributes that other guys in this division just simply don't have, especially some of the old guard. And as their time passes, maybe as he creeps up the division, he can get some of those big fights to make him an even bigger name, more than just a UK prospect right now. But I guess it depends what direction they go with him.
Yeah, Moses in the ring has the skills. We've seen the patience, we've seen the poise. He looks mature, especially for a guy as experienced as he is in the pros. But something fascinating about his career is he doesn't know how to lose. He's undefeated as an amateur, undefeated now as a pro, and even though he isn't fighting at the highest of levels right now, we haven't seen too many glaring holes in Moses Itauma's game, so that's really promising for his future. I honestly think in the next few years he can go to the top, he can become a world champion, and he probably will. It feels inevitable at this point, but we're gonna have to see what comes next. But let us know your thoughts in the comments down below on Moses. Will he become a world champion? But if you guys enjoyed and want to see more boxing on the channel, check out the night Tyson Fury got humbled on screen now.